Where is the Easter Bunny?
Where is he?
I don't know. Did the Easter Bunny treat you nicely?
All right.
Beef jerky?
Well, I got a lot of beef jerky, yeah.
He knows ball here on this post-Easter pre-NFL draft day. Corey to my right, Cam to my left. Soren not in his alley.
Surprisingly.
Okay. John in the island of Staten in his vehicle. Am I correct about that? In the island of Staten, JD?
No, undisclosed location, but I am in my car.
John Downey, FBI. Sign him up. I'm Vincent Goldschmidt, ready for this episode of He Knows Ball. Boys, it's not draft day yet, but it is almost draft day.
It's draft week.
Where's Kevin Costner? Vontae Mack. No matter what.
Taking Bo Callahan.
Nah, Bo Callahan stinks. You saw who Bo Callahan's agent was?
I think it was P. Diddy.
It was indeed. It was indeed. P. Diddy.
We'll leave it there.
No wonder he doesn't remember his birthday. Okay. All right. We gotta get moving. All right. So we will be doing our final mock draft. No more mock draft database because it crapped out too many times. But we will be doing our final mock draft. Thank you, Pro Football Network. Be better than mock draft database. But before we do that, as we always do, a little bit of trivia. Does he know ball?
Does he know ball?
All right. Stanley Cup playoffs beginning tonight.
Yes.
Right?
Well, yeah, they have
Yeah,
started
yes.
in the last couple of days.
But yeah, so officially kicked off. So we're just going to go something a little bit lighter, on the lighter side. Who are the top 3 teams with the most Stanley Cups in the NHL?
Oh,
You're all Canadians.
They are number 1 with 24.
yeah.
That's the only one I'm going to be able to do.
The Maple Leafs.
They are number 2.
And then, let me dig deep.
Back states.
It's a great sports city, Boston Bruins.
They are 4.
Ah.
Tied
That's
with
what I was
number
about to
2.
say. Yeah.
You said currently in the playoffs.
No.
Oh,
no.
just in general.
I meant when I said I meant like currently in this like stateside, like in the U.S.
Okay. Trying to think. Is it Chicago?
They are tied with the Bruins at 4 with 6
Okay.
apiece.
Oh,
Any luck?
Maybe the Islanders, maybe.
I was about to say.
Because they had a 3-peat one year.
They are tied for 6th.
They had a three-peat 1 year. They won 3 championships.
Oh, yeah. I just caught myself one time, I meant to say.
I was gonna say Islanders. That wasn't.
That's an incredible feat then. Jeez.
Edmonton? No,
No.
stateside.
Back in the
I'm
States.
an
Trying to think, is it one of the
They are
original 6? Is it one of the original 6?
Is it?
Oh, would it be the Red Wings?
It is the Red
Oh,
Wings.
yeah. I was like, it had to be one of
They
the
have
original
11.
6. Yeah.
They have 11 sitting at number 3. So yeah, 3rd Red Wings, 2 Leafs, number 1 Montreal Canadiens. Good job, guys.
Who would have thought the Canadians, who are only good at hockey, would be good at hockey? Good job. Good thing they have a guy going to the NFL draft in the next couple days. Cam
Hopefully.
Gorman's ultimate Moigoy.
Yeah, put a lot of money on them.
For what?
It's for fun. It's just for
To
fun.
be picked or
See,
like
we have fun. We have fun here.
It's fun.
This is fun. We're having fun. Good sip. All right. Final one. We'll get into the NFL mock draft 3.0 by HKB. The picks are still the same. No teams have moved yet. Let me ask, do we think there's going to be any moves within the top 5?
I could see it. I could see if any of the teams in the top 5, I think the Patriots would be the most likely to trade out.
Mhm.
Not that far deep in the round, but like try and pick up some capital. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could be willing to move up. I mean,
Okay.
Chicago has, in particular, has done it
Yeah.
a decent amount of
Yeah.
times in the last couple of years.
We'll get into it. I was just curious what you guys thought. With the first overall pick, Tennessee Titans on the clock. I don't think anything's really changed since the last one with this pick.
I think it only got harder with all of the. You saw the clips of him playing Fortnite, right? Did you actually hit on his Twitch stream?
No.
Someone asked him, who do you think are the top 4 running backs in the entire NFL? He said he only named 2 guys, and they might be current Tennessee Titans running backs. They might be named Tajee Spears and Tony Pollard. They all also asked him who were the best wide receivers in the league, and I'm drawing a blank on their names, but he was trying to get, he said something about AJ Brown. He's like, AJ Brown could come back to this team. Like,
But
you
he
never
doesn't
know.
have- Was it Beasley? I think it was.
I think it was
Yeah.
Beasley.
He goes, yeah, with AJ Brown. AJ Brown's great, but you don't have Beasley.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's pretty certain where this pick's going, which is crazy to think because, like, as of a month ago, this is how crazy the NFL draft is. As of a month ago, I feel like this pick was really up in the air. We weren't even sure if Tennessee was going to stay there, but it seems
Yeah, we were
kinda-
talking about that. Yeah.
It seems kind of dead set. So with the first overall pick, Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward, quarterback from the University of Miami, which moves us to the second overall pick, the Cleveland Browns on the clock. We know they're going defense. I would say it's between two players, probably favoring one more than another.
Mhm.
I would say it's between Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. I know last time we went Hunter, I still think it's Hunter. I think it's the right pick.
I can see that.
I think just the versatility.
Yeah.
If they ended up trading Myles Garrett, I would probably weigh more on Abdul Carter.
Mhm.
But saying that they locked him up long term, I could see Hunter being the pick here. So with the second overall pick, the Cleveland Browns select Travis Hunter, cornerback / wide receiver from Colorado. Moving us to third overall, the New York Football Giants on the clock. There's been clamoring that even still, after signing Russ and Winston, that they could still go Shedeur Sanders. I don't believe it. I think Sanders is way down in the draft now.
Yeah.
I think the buildup has killed him. If the draft was 2 months removed from the college season, he would have been a top 3 pick. But because there's been so much time in between, I feel like scouts have really gotten a chance to pick apart his game. And I think you're going to see him fall a little bit. So I don't see them going QB here. Is it a possibility? Sure. I heard I wouldn't say a good chance, but there's a possibility that Winston and DeVito both get cut and it ends up being Russ and Shedeur and you battle it out. Wouldn't be the worst case scenario, but I don't see that happening. I think they still go O-line. I think they have to. I still think they're looking for more so next year, knowing how deep that quarterback draft is. There's not as many question marks. Build up what you can. Maybe Russ can do something. Maybe he can cook. Probably not.
I mean, they got a lot of motivation in that locker room, so
They do.
that could help.
They
them.
do. I think it's
False motivation.
yeah. They're doing high knees on the plane. They're eating crab legs in the locker room. It doesn't matter. I think it's got to be. I think it's Will Campbell. I think
Yeah, I
it's
was gonna
O-line.
say, yeah.
Which sucks. 'Cause I think New England needs him more, but I think it's just circumstantial. So with the third overall pick, the New York Giants select Will Campbell, offensive tackle from Louisiana State University. Go Tigers. Fourth overall, the New England Patriots on the clock. They would probably still need O-line here, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go defense, especially with Carter still being on the board. I think Carter would be a huge addition, but also you do know that Drake May is your future. So this is where it gets kind of tough. So where are we leaning here?
I think you got to protect Drake May, I think. Because, I mean, now he's got some weapons. I think you don't want to screw this up.
So what side of the offensive line do we go to? Because we talked about Armand Membo is only played right tackle in his collegiate career. Kelvin Banks has only played left tackle. You tend to protect the blind side, but I think Membo is a higher graded O-lineman. Could this be a spot where someone moves up who would take Abdul Carter? Like, what are we thinking here? Because I feel like even with the O-line, it's a bit of a reach.
I think
They play it safe and get their guy. Because you think they could move back and then if other teams jump around. Miami's another team that could really go O-line, the Bears as well. Do you think they just try to secure their guy? They try not to be too fancy.
Probably secure
I
their
think
guy.
so, yeah.
So is it Membo or is it Banks? I think it's Banks.
I think so.
I think Membo is going to be better than Banks, but I think it's purely a bigger need to protect Drake May's blind side. I'm going to put my vote of confidence with Banks.
I could see that,
I'll agree
yeah.
with that, yeah.
Any
Yeah.
opposition, boys? JD?
No, I understand totally where you're coming from. I just think it is a reach, but they have to do what's best for their quarterback. Because if they don't have that, then you've seen teams that don't have quarterbacks, what happens to them. And I think they really do have one. I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but Drake May is a stud.
All right. So with the 4th overall pick, the New England Patriots select Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle from Texas, which brings us to 5th overall, and the Jacksonville Jaguars could really use some help on the interior offensive line, or not defensive line. Could really use help everywhere, for being honest. But I really don't think it's changed
Yeah.
from what it should and will be. I think it has been the entire time since Pete Carroll has become the head coach. I think it's Genty every day of the week. Genty in 5. Genty at 6.
You just skipped the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm an
Yeah,
idiot.
yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
Sorry, I was
the
looking down- I
disrespect
was looking
of
down-
Duval,
Uh,
man.
Okay. All right, so
Yeah,
what
it's
is
all right.
what is Duval doing?
I mean, you got to take the best guy off the board here. And if Carter's still there, you
Yeah.
got to take Carter.
I agree.
No, no argument for Graham. I know we've
I
done
mean,
Graham in the past. That's the only
If
reason.
Carter wasn't there, I would say
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was gonna say.
All right, fine with me.
Graham.
All right, so with
Yeah.
the 5th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Abdul Carter, edge rusher from Penn State. Now with the 6th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders, with Pete Carroll as their head coach, and the pick that has always been the decision. Should we say it in unison?
Ashton.
Ashton Genty,
Yeah.
running back, Boise State. 6th overall, no argument. We've been so on that for a while, which moves us to 7th overall, and the New York Jets on the clock. JD, is it still the other stud from Penn State?
That's what it should be, but as the days keep getting closer to the draft, I have less and less feeling that's going to happen. So I want to hear what you guys think first, and then I'll jump back in.
Shooter Sanders.
I think it would be. I mean, honestly, would we be shocked if the Jets drafted Shador and put him up against Justin Fields? Probably not. But Mason Graham is still there with Aaron Glenn. I could definitely see him trying to snag him up.
Yeah, I think with how the runout's kind of gone, I think if Graham is off the board, I think it would be Warren.
Mhm.
But with Graham being as talented as he is, him and Quinnen next to each other would be disgusting.
Yeah.
So I think Warren is definitely a very likely outcome, but I think it's between Graham and Warren. So we'll swing it back to you, JD. You'll make the executive pick.
Yeah, if Graham's there, I'm taking him as well. It's more of a need, honestly. Like, I mean, you can go with an average tight end, than more so than an average defensive tackle. You know what I mean? Like, because Quinnen Williams had no chance last year, basically every single play on the inside because he was getting double and triple teams because he had no help. So, and Glenn is a defensive coach, so I wouldn't be opposed to it.
So is that look? You're Aaron Glenn. You're the front office. You're Brick Johnson. You are making the decision. Is it Mason Graham?
Yes.
Okay.
The way the cards have went so far, yes, Mason
All right.
Graham. But I would not be shocked if Shador Sanders is a Jet in this scenario. I would not be shocked by
I
that.
can't wait to call you.
I
on
can't wait
draft
for
day.
Thursday, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually in the probably minority of that situation. I wouldn't care if they took him or not.
Okay.
I say we draft a quarterback every other round until we get it right.
Just use one every pick until you get one. That's how it works. All right. So with
5
the,
years. Well, someone will be good.
with the 7th overall pick, the New York Jets select Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, which brings us to 8th overall and the Carolina Panthers on the clock. We've been very dead set about Carolina going offense, but again with a slightly different run out. Is it still very much McMillan? I believe so. But if Tyler Warren's still on the board, they don't really have a tight end either. And they also, I think they could still use a little bit of a line help, so he does provide that. He also provides a bunch of versatility in the offense. I think you look at who they have. Chuba Hubbard is good, not great. Thielen's getting older. Leggett showed flashes, but I don't think he's a true number one. So Warren does provide the versatility, but McMillan does give you that true number one. So I feel it's between the two. Where are we leaning?
I don't know. Me personally, I feel like I lean towards McMillan because when you look at this lineup, I mean, Thielen was the highest in receiving yards, 615. Like they didn't really have like those are good numbers, but like after that, like Leggett was good. I mean, Deontay Johnson, like I don't know. I feel like if they get a true number one in McMillan, I think that offense would be even better than what we saw flashes of.
I agree with Corey 100% here.
Okay, I just want to play devil's advocate because we really haven't seen Warren. Not in the last one, at least, but we haven't seen Warren get to this point in the draft. And it seems like it's a possibility he gets here, but also there's a chance he could go higher. Someone could trade up and grab him. I just want to play devil's advocate. I'm okay with it. So with the 8th overall pick, the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan, wide receiver, Arizona, which moves us to 9th overall. And the New Orleans Saints, who need everything, they don't have money to do anything. They are in a unbelievably bad position. They need at least interior O-line help. Probably they need everything. They need to restart the Madden franchise and turn off salary cap. That's what they're in a bad spot. Their O-line interiors needs a lot more help. I think exterior Penning and Fuaga, they'll be okay. They need their guys to stay healthy. I know Olave gets hurt every year. Derek Carr was really bad. There's so much they need. I really don't know what they could use anything here. I could see them going Shedeur Sanders too, which is the worst part. I don't think it's
That's
likely.
what I think.
I don't think it's likely, but I see it happening. I think they could reach for interior line, or they could trade back. I honestly think trading back is probably the best bet. Get more draft capital and pay the guys they draft less money.
Yeah, I don't know where to begin with the Saints.
Who's trading up?
I think it's Miami, because my thought process being the Bears could very much go O-line. I think we've agreed on that every draft you've done. Miami needs O-line. Membo is a right tackle who is a southpaw quarterback, so he would be protecting to his blind side. So that is the thought that I have there. That Miami would move up and make sure they protect Tua. The Saints get an extra pick or two later or next year, and they spend a little bit less on whoever they could end up getting. Do we agree with that being
Kind of like that.
I think it's the smartest thing. I
Yeah.
think Miami,
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
I think Miami needs to be smart here and know that, especially you look at the run out. The other two offensive linemen are gone too. I think if it'd be different if Banks was still there. Sure, you're not protecting his blind side, or maybe you try to transition him over. But seeing how the run out has been, I don't think you can really afford to do that.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let me try to cook something up and hopefully knock it to.
I think Miami's going to be the most interesting team in the draft, to be honest with you, because they do have a lot of question marks. I know Hill and Ramsey aren't too happy there. I would not be shocked. I know I may sound crazy if Tua could be moved as well. I would not be shocked by that.
I think they've invested so much into him that they won't. But it's not a crazy thing to think about. I don't think that's like an obscene thing to say. Let's see if they'll nice me and let a trade get. Please. This is the thing. Mock draft database will just let us make trades.
Yeah, they'll give you the level on it.
Yeah, this is a lot tougher. I think Miami. All right, let's kind of brainstorm and see if we can work this through.
Yeah.
I think to move up 4 picks, what would Miami have to get?
I think they swap first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe trade Miami's 98th.
Okay.
Do we think Saints?
That's
need to give
third
up-
round, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's third round. Do we think the Saints need to train anything? Maybe flip thirds as well, and then Miami gives a third for 2026.
So you're having them flip thirds? I don't know if they flip thirds.
I'm just trying to think of something that might be able to go through.
What I have is probably going to get rejected. Swap first. Miami gives up their third this and next year, and New Orleans gives up their top third or top 4th overall pick, 4th round pick this year.
What was that, 112?
Yeah, 112.
112.
Nope.
All right, we're going to draft as if Miami's here. I don't want to keep
Yeah.
playing this game.
Yeah.
So, all right, Miami moves up. Miami moves up to the 9th overall pick, and we know who they're going here. 9th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins select Armand Membu, offensive tackle from Missouri. This is the one reason I like mock draft database, because they'll let you know where you're leaning with the trade. They just tell you wrong, bad trade. All right, so then we're gonna ignore the logos, but Miami was at 9. 10th overall, the Chicago Bears on the clock. I think they're in a difficult position because we talked about them potentially taking Genti if he was to fall, and he's obviously not on the board. We talked about them potentially going online. I don't really see that as a thing right now. So it seems as if they would go. There's no even like receivers. I don't think there's any. Maybe there's a receiver, but I think it's still a little bit early. Tight ends, no. So I'm thinking maybe they reach for a receiver, or they go on the defensive side.
Definitely defensive side of the ball.
Okay, so you say definitely. Where are they going? I think they could go
I
probably front 4. I think you're going the defensive front.
I would say Jalen Walker.
You think?
I think that middle linebacker might be more of a need for that Bears side, especially with like, I'll use like the line, like playing against the Lions for an example. Like whenever like the Lions would pull out a trick play against the Bears, it usually was their middle linebackers were the first ones to bite.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have Ben Johnson on that side of the ball for the Bears. I think maybe getting a young guy who's going to start fresh in the league might not be a bad thing. But if not, I understand what you're saying for defensive line going Stewart.
The thing that I think with this, you bring up Walker. I don't know if he's a true he's a linebacker. He doesn't seem like a Mike back though. He seems more of an outside linebacker. I don't really see him as someone or like an outside linebacker on edge. I feel like he doesn't play that true Mike back. Mm-hmm. That's the only argument. I can't disagree with needing a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's one on the board right now that they would really want.
That's fair. I just don't. I disagree with you thinking that they're going to go wide receiver, especially with how much they invested with last draft, bringing in even more wide receivers. I think if they're going to bring anyone to like for an offensive weapon, I think Warren would be the only real argument. If they're trying to get someone like new that Caleb Williams is trying to throw the ball to, I don't see them trying to make that wide receiver room any deeper with already the pieces that they do have.
So I don't think Walker's a bad thing. I think they'd play him off the edge more. I don't think it'd be a Mike. I don't think it'd be a Mike back. So do we want to go Walker? Do we want to go Stewart? Mike Green is also on the board. Michael Williams. There's a lot of edge talent that we've gone over in every draft.
Yeah.
Do we think they could go Walker and try to convert him into a Mike back? Is that I'm okay going Walker. I just want to kind of play devil's advocate for all the possible outcomes.
I mean, with Walker, when you bring that up, like, are the Bears really gonna like want to try and like convert him? Like, do they want to just draft him and have him for what position he is and just jump right out of the gate?
Yeah,
that's the thing. But
especially using the 10th pick.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think if you're going to go with someone here, you have to feel confident in what they would do. And look, they have Montez Sweat on one side. They really don't have anyone else off the edge, if we're being completely honest. So I think, again, it could very much be Walker to be an edge rusher. But
yeah, they're all good. Yeah, they all can make a case.
I'm between Walker and Stewart.
Let's go Stewart. I think that's the safe.
Yeah, I would lean towards Stewart.
All right, so with the 10th overall pick, the Chicago Bears select Shamar Stewart, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Which moves us to 11th overall, the San Francisco 49ers on the clock. In a position offensively where they're good, could draft O-line depth. I think that's definitely an outcome. Trent Williams is starting to show his age. But also, if you look at the board, there's not a whole lot of offensive. I feel like you're kind of reaching for a lot of the tackles here. So I think you kind of have to rule out OT unless they were to move back. I think they could definitely use a boost on defense. I think they've lost a good bit of pieces. Where defensively are we going? Because we're also there's a name that's still on the board. We're yet to see Will Johnson go. We've had Johnson go earlier in drafts in the last couple.
Well, that is true.
I very much think that could be a good pick for San Francisco. Shore up their secondary.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I agree.
All right. JD, any opposition?
No, I actually like that move a lot. I wish I had the name. I don't have the names in front of me. I would have said them definitely for sure.
All
I
right.
like that one.
So with the 11th overall pick, the San Francisco 49ers select Will Johnson, quarterback from Michigan, which moves us to 12th overall, and the Dallas Cowboys on the clock. Now, there is so many directions I see this going. All of them Jerry's way. I talked about them getting Genty in previous drafts. Genty's obviously off the board. I could see them getting Amari and Hampton. I've seen that a lot in a lot of mock drafts that they get their running back. They don't have a running back. They really don't have
Yeah,
any
that's true.
talent with running backs.
They can get Shador.
They could get that. Look, it's the silliest. It is the silliest outcome saying that they also traded for Joe Milton, but they could get Shador.
I'm honestly leaning towards Shador here. I know I was very anti Shador in the last mock draft that we did, but it is Jerry's world. In what other way with like
I know
Dak?
I know.
Dak's
Yeah.
only gonna get older. Like you saw how they ran through backup quarterbacks this year.
They want to bring back that Dallas.
He didn't want Schottenheimer as the coach, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I know that is definitely the thought, but just looking at the running back depth.
Yeah, it's pretty
Javonte
bad.
Williams, who has never been more than a running back by committee.
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders, who is 3 years past his prime. Deuce Vaughn,
Deuce
who is
Vaughn.
on the team because of his dad. Malik Davis, who I couldn't tell you what he does. I couldn't tell you if he was a football player. That might be a Madden player for him. There is nothing really going for this running back room. I feel like you have to take a shot with Hampton.
Yeah, I could see that. As much as as a Steelers fan, I would have loved to see Hampton on the Steelers, but yeah, I could see Hampton going to Dallas.
All right. So with the 12th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys select Amari and Hampton, running back from the University of North Carolina, which brings us to the Saints, who would move back at 13. I still don't know where they go here. I think they need to go interior line and
Shador?
I can't see them, dude. There's so many needs they have.
Well,
besides-
Derek Carr, honestly, Derek Carr is hurt again, so I wouldn't
He is.
be shocked.
But also, it's going to be the same argument. Do we want to spend a first-round pick this year? If Derek Carr's hurt, all right, we roll it Spencer Rattler, and then you get the top quarterback next year.
Yeah.
Like, I just think there's and I know that's not how franchises look. They're not going to punt on a season before the season. But, I mean, how do you look at yourself and say, we're in a good spot? Like, you're not. Defensively, they have a decent structure. But I just think there's so much they need, and especially on the offensive line, man. I really see them going Zabel, Tyler Booker. I see it being interior. Is Shador definitely an option? 100%.
I like that Booker pick. Now that you bring it up, I like the idea of Tyler Booker.
Dude,
Yeah.
their interior O-line is so bad. They need as much help as they can get there. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
Again, their outside O-line isn't atrocious. And even, I think Booker, it's a little bit of a reach still. He's only allowed 2 sacks in his college career. He's a pretty solid O-line. A pretty solid lineman. So,
Yeah, I agree. I
All
like
right.
that pick.
Yeah.
So with the 13th overall pick, I almost said Miami Dolphins. The New Orleans Saints select Tyler Booker, offensive guard from Alabama. Which brings up nope, that's not the Houston Texans. The Indianapolis Colts. It was a long drive today, boys. It was a long drive. The Indianapolis Colts. And I think this falls right into their lap. What better way for Shane Steichen to draw up some plays and not let Anthony Richardson make mistakes than getting quite possibly the best offensive talent in the draft?
Shador Sanders.
No. No, it's AR-15 and DJ. They do not need to add another personality to that quarterback room. For the love of God, no. I think it's Warren.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
I
because
love Warren.
they don't have a true tight end
I
at
love
all.
Warren to this team.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Drew Ogletree, good luck to you. Mo
But-
Alley Cox, you get a 2-touchdown game every once in a while. But, I mean, Pittman is a low-tier receiver 1, probably more of a receiver 2. Alec Pierce is a 3. Josh Downs is a 3. It's fine. There's teams who have success with that being the thing. But I think you have to have a talent all across the board, and I think this is a chance to do it.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
agree.
So with the 14th overall pick, the Indianapolis Colts select Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, which brings us to the 15th overall pick with the Atlanta Falcons, who have the same quarterback room as a year ago, just, the top guy and second guy reversed. They could probably draft another offensive weapon and then not use him properly.
Shador Sanders.
No.
Somebody has to take Shador.
Someone has to. I think it's going to be a few more picks down the line, Corey. How are you feeling about that?
What about the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yes. Yes. All right. Let's focus on it. Let's focus on Atlanta. I think we've gone edge the last few times. I think last time we went Walker, we said, stay home. We got Williams, we got Green, and we still have Walker there.
I like the idea of Walker.
Yeah.
Pick one from a hat, and that's what they need. They have no path to trust.
All right, so we'll stick with the same way we went last time. With the 15th overall pick, the Atlanta Falcons select Jalen Walker, edge rusher from Georgia, which moves us to the 16th overall pick and the Arizona Cardinals. They're in a weird spot as well. I don't see them going receiver. They spent high on Harrison Jr. last year. They'll draft another one. I don't think Michael Wilson or Greg Dortch are the guys. I think McBride and Harrison's great. I think you need a third receiver to supplement, and I think they'll grab that later on. Their defense isn't in a terrible spot. I like that they got Josh Sweat, Thompson, and Baker, and the safety room is all right. I think they could also. I think they go linebacker here or edge. I think Campbell. I think if Walker fell one more, they would take him, but I think Campbell might be the selection here. Maybe edge. Actually, Derek Harmon wouldn't be the worst. I think they could add to their interior D-line. So do we think it's D-line, edge, or linebacker?
Probably edge. Just the way the NFL is going. Sounds
just build up.
Yeah.
If you
I think it's one of those you can just pull out of a hat, really.
So Green or Williams?
I like Mike Green.
All right.
I'm a Mike Green guy.
Bang. That's Mike Green. All right. So with the 16th overall pick, the Arizona Cardinals select Mike Green, edge rusher from Marshall, VR, which moves us to 17th overall. The Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. Could also go edge. Trey Hendrickson requested a trade. Still hasn't been traded. Probably just going to return to the team, which I think is fine. They'll figure that out at some point.
The Bengals will take anybody defense at this point. As John has said over and over, this team has no defense.
Yes, we can play better defense. HKB can play better defense.
Look, I have faith in our dude. Soren could lay the boom.
Oh, he's. I feel like Soren could be the second coming
Yeah,
of Myles
he's a
Garrett.
boomstick, Soren, but
Soren indeed does possess the boomstick. All right. Yeah, there's a lot of ways they could go. I think they go secondary. I think they're so torched in the secondary. It just depends where in the secondary. I think it's going to be corner. I really do. I think it'll be Barron. But I could also see Malachi Starks going here too.
I'm gonna lean towards Starks, but I'll let you guys decide this one.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it either.
Okay. Yeah, I think they'll go. Personally, I think they'll go corner, but I think Starks would be good. I think they also definitely need safety help. It doesn't matter. They need to address their entire defense this draft. But I'm good with it. With the 17th overall pick, Cincinnati Bengals select Malachi Starks, safety from Georgia, which moves us to 18th overall. And the Seattle Seahawks revitalized on the offensive side with Geno Smith 2.0, with an aging Cooper Kupp. Should we call that revitalized? That sounded terrible. that sounds brutal. They've really been building up their defense. I think they're trying to build the newest edition of the Legion of Boom. I think this is where if they want to do that, they go Harmon on the interior. I could see them going offensive line. I don't think it's likely, at least not this early. What do we think, boys?
I mean, I like Harmon. Like if we had to go off offensive line, I mean, probably like Zabel.
I think it would probably be interior. I do like Gray Zabel.
Yeah.
I do really like him.
But I do like Harmon.
I would like to propose a trade.
Uh-oh.
Please
Uh-oh.
do cook.
Oh,
10-second delay.
I think the Lions try and move up here.
Ooh.
I think they try and trade Jamison Williams to move up to the 18th in exchange for first. Possibly the Lions throw in a fourth as well. I think with what we saw with Sam Darnold, what he was able to succeed with was like those fast moving wide receivers. And with him getting to the last year of his rookie contract, it looks like the team is starting to want to try and move away from him. And with Greg Zabel, with him being right there, even Derek Harmon, I mean, I would personally love to see the Lions move up and take Harmon, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
The only pushback I'll give, I don't think Seattle is going to have to pay someone after this year. I think they want to focus on paying JSN. So with Jameson being in the last year of his rookie deal, that's the only. And also we talked about
makes sense.
We talked about crowded receiver rooms. I think that it's already, you have Kupp and Smith and Jigba as your 1 and 2. You have Bobo and MVS as your deep ball threats. That's fine. I don't think that's necessarily what the Seahawks need. I could see them moving up. I just don't see JMO as part of the trade.
Okay.
I like the line. I like the Lions moving up. I just don't see JMO as a trade. So propose me another thing minus JMO, and I will give the stamp of approval.
For me, okay, if you're going to say it that way with the Seattle, maybe they try and move up with a different team.
Okay.
I think if the Lions trade up in the first round, he is going to be a part of that package deal.
Okay.
No matter how they do it.
All right, so we'll say Seattle sticks here. Keep that Lions trade, though. I just don't think Seattle is the team for that. But there's definitely teams coming up who could definitely do that trade, Cam. I'm looking at the board right now. There are definitely teams who could do that. So we'll say Seattle stays. Where are they going?
I think they go Harmon.
You think Harmon? All right. So with the 18th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks select Derek Harmon, defensive tackle from Oregon. Moving to 19th overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. They also need defense bad, especially in the secondary. They were very not good. I think safety they're a little bit more comfortable with than corner, but I could see it going both ways. I think this is where Barron goes if he didn't go earlier.
I was about to say, I think Barron, yeah.
All right, so with the 19th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Jahdae Barron, cornerback from Texas. Moving to 20th overall, and the Denver Broncos are on the clock. One of the teams who I thought Detroit could trade up with. I think they could definitely use Jameson Williams. Do you think this is where they pull the trigger?
That's what.
Let me ask. What do you think? Do you think the Lions go interior D line?
My heart is if they're going to move up for an interior lineman, it would be Harmon. But if they're going to stay, I think they can stay and wait for Greg Zabel.
For O-line?
Yeah. That's where I see them going either interior line or D line. As much as I want them to try and find an edge guy, which they desperately need. But I don't know.
Probably grab one in the second.
I'm not opposed with them trying to trade up for this pick because what everything that I've been seeing is Zabel has definitely been moving up in a lot of
100%
draft boards. So
100%.
I would be down to propose this trade with the Broncos.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. The cats and the ponies. Kitty cats and ponies. We're not going to even attempt to make this trade.
Okay.
But we'll say, sure. Sure.
If only it was that easy.
So
Lions.
Roughly 2 first, Jameson Williams, and then
Swap first, JMO. Denver gives up a third.
then Lions like a 5th.
Sure. Sounds good to me. That's simple. All right. So now the Lions on the clock at 20th overall. And they get your guy, Cam. With the 20th overall pick, the Detroit Lions select Gray Zabel, offensive guard from North Dakota State. Now the 21st overall pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Gee, I wonder where they go.
Well, unfortunately, if we had to think realistically, they're probably going to take Shador Sanders.
Jalen Milroe.
I heard about, I did hear about
Look, it
Jalen
isn't
Milrow.
the craziest thing.
I heard about that.
This is a really weird spot because if Shedeur Sanders, who has been hyped up this entire time, is still on the board, someone will draft.
And I
But-
think it's the standard is the standard.
Standard is a standard.
Yes.
2025 season starts today. But also at the same time, Jalen Milrow has been working his way up the draft boards. He was someone who was highly touted coming into this year. He was someone who a lot of people thought he would be an early draft pick. And obviously the season he had didn't really display it. But now here we are.
And Jackson Dart, too.
I don't think Darko's.
Yeah. But I think realistically, the Steelers are probably going to take Shedeur because of the name and be safe.
All right.
That's what I'm thinking.
So the standard is the standard in the Steel City.
Yes, it is.
Drafting Shedeur Sanders, quarterback from Colorado. Let's go, Steelers.
Congratulations, guys.
Jack is crying right now. You're right back there, Jack.
It's okay.
All right. All right. Which moves us to the 22nd overall pick and the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock.
Loveland?
Possibly.
Harbaugh tries to bring in a
Yes.
Michigan guy. I think so.
I
with
think it's
the
definitely.
smash.
I think it's a thought. It's Smash Mouth football. I know exactly where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I love Big Montana, but not everyone is like me. I get it. I just also think losing Bosa, you could definitely use the help up front. But it is also a deep edge draft. They could wait a little bit.
That's what I think they can wait. I think with Loveland still being there, he has the ties with Harbaugh. I think it's probably should be the pick.
I think that's best case scenario. I mean, familiarity. Yeah, just
All right. Good with me, man. All right. So with the 22nd overall pick, the Los Angeles Chargers select Colson Loveland, tight end from Michigan, which moves us to the Green Bay Packers. Packers have 900 wide receiver twos. There's wide receiver twos on the board right here. But they also don't draft weapons in the first round. So I don't know. I think they could use a line help. I think their line's kind of I really don't know where.
You don't think they pass up on if Golden's there? You don't think they try and take him?
They have so many wide receivers. Their entire starting wide receiver core is wide receiver twos. Reed, Dobbs, and Watson.
I agree.
And Wicks are all not wide receiver ones.
It's worked.
It has
has-
worked.
it has worked.
It has, but I just think you'd
If you
focus
want
on
to talk about the standard,
Yeah, I think you focus on developing them, and I think you got to make sure Love stays healthy and upright.
yeah.
That's just my thought process with this.
I could see where.
But also
you're coming from.
looking at the board, there is kind of slim pickings of first round offensive linemen. You could go with Simmons, who's a projected first rounder, if you want to go tackle. You go with his teammate. You go with Donovan Jackson. Reach for Connerly. I really don't know because I'm not crazy. I think they need O-line, and I think this is where you reach to make sure you get what you need.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, this is tough. I feel like I don't know. Like I see where you're coming from with Simmons, but then also too again like with their wide receivers. Man, I don't know. I feel like they're in limbo a little bit.
I think it has to be Simmons. I don't think you can pass up on him because he's also going to protect Love's blind side.
Yeah.
I could see
I just
that.
think it's Simmons.
Yeah,
here.
because if Love goes down, like is Malik
it's
Willis
not
really?
Malik.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Okay, I could
Absolutely.
see
All
that.
right, so with the 23rd overall pick, the Green Bay Packers select Josh Simmons, offensive tackle from the Ohio State, which moves us to 24th overall, and the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. They don't have a lot of holes in their. I really like this Minnesota team. I think purely we've talked about it before. What is JJ McCarthy going to do? And that's the biggest question. I think their O-line got significantly better this offseason. I think defensively it's more of a depth thing. I think they could go safety. Cam, I see you pondering.
You don't think they try and take a chance on Jalen Milrow here? It's
no
very
shot.
weird,
No
but,
shot.
I know they just spent a first on JJ McCarthy. I mean, he got injured on the practice field. It's not like he's an insane quarterback when it comes to throwing. When you're trying to set the expectation with, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, they're all going to try and go long. Maybe try and light a fire underneath him. Maybe, I don't know where they're at in the second
But that's
round
the thing.
pick.
You're going to spend a first to light a fire, and also because you traded with the Jets last year to get the pick.
True.
I don't know. I can't see that. Again, maybe with like a 4th round pick, you bring in Kyle McCord, and it's like, hey, JJ, like there's a chance you might not start this year, but like I think they do anything but.
Okay.
I think it's secondary still. That's where I've kind of been fixated. You could always draft depth too. I think their front seven's good, but you can always build there. What do we think, Corey?
I think they go safety because it's like they can always, because like I know their QB room right now is just JJ, but that's something they can worry about later, I think, because like I don't know, like I get with Jalen, but like, is that going to be a successful QB room? Like 2 young guys really like feeling it out for the first time. Yeah.
Especially guys who like you see the flaws in their game and you have to develop them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I could see them go safety like
Emmett
Worry.
I think Emmett Worry's
maybe even
good.
Watts out of Notre Dame. But
I think you go safer here.
yeah.
All right. With 24th overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings select Nick Emmanwori, safety from South Carolina, which moves us to the 25th overall pick and the Houston Texans on the clock. Offensive line. I mean, you saw how bad it was.
Yeah.
For CJ had a sophomore slump because he was just getting hit constantly.
Interior or outside?
Yes. All of the above. All of the above.
What do you think? I think if we're going off best O lineman available, probably going to be Donovan Jackson.
Yeah.
Just because, you can wait a little bit longer to get another outside lineman.
I think you focus on outside more. I think Donovan is probably the best available, but I think you can live a little bit I wouldn't say dangerously, but you can live a little bit more with your outside not being great. I think you have to make sure, or with your inside not being great. I think you need to make sure your outside's good.
Yeah. Especially
with Connerly being available, him being a left tackle as well. So now you're making sure he's upright. The Texans need so much of that. They're in a bad spot because you saw it this. You really saw
it was a shame. It was a shame.
You wasted a year that Stroud should have improved upon.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Robinson's fine. He's still. Yeah, he's on. I don't know. They brought in Robinson. I don't think.
Yeah, do we ask Siri or something?
ChatGPT. What do you think? I'm gonna say Connerly.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But again, I don't hate Jackson either. I think in the next couple of days, there's gonna be things that reveal itself, and maybe it ends up being Jackson. Maybe it's something where Houston moves up to try and secure one of those guys. But at least for this edition, we're gonna go with the Houston Texans, 25th overall, Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle from Oregon, which moves us to the 26th overall pick and the Los Angeles Rams with Matthew Stafford back at quarterback. O-line as well.
I think they can wait.
Okay. If you think they can wait, where do you see them going here?
We still have Michael Williams on the board. They need help on the D-line too, as much as they do on the offensive line. That's my vote.
I don't hate it. I just think with where they're at with edges, they had Fisk in his rookie year, who I think was good. They had Kobe Turner, who I also think was good. And then also Jared Verse was really good. I think variety, adding another threat to that is not a terrible thing. Do we think possibly secondary? I know there really isn't anyone jumping off the page right here.
Let's meet halfway.
Could it be Campbell?
I was going to bring up Campbell's name next. If you think that their D-line is okay, they don't really need to add anyone else, bring in a guy like Campbell who can always slide in on those the defensive line.
Yeah, I think
100%.
that's probably the best.
Cool.
That's the best
I'm
option.
very much good with that. I'm very good with that. So with the 26th overall pick, the Los Angeles Rams select Jahad Campbell, linebacker from the University of Alabama. 27th overall, the Ravens, secondary. One more time, secondary. I think it's the biggest need. That was their biggest flaw, which is terrible. No, like seeing the names that's there. You have Marlon Humphrey. You have Kyle Hamilton. I really don't think that their secondary did not live up to expectations. It was very disappointing. I don't care what you do, whether it's corner or safety, but you have to do something because it was not at this. Where are they going? Corner or safety?
I think the best available would probably be corner, Ravel. I would say, yeah.
I do like Trey Amos as well. I really like Amos. I could see him sneaking to the first, but I'm good with Ravel here. I think it's cool.
I think Ravens go safe pick.
All right. So with the 27th overall pick, the Baltimore Ravens select Siobhan Ravel, cornerback, ECU. Moves us to 28th overall, not the Detroit Lions, but the Denver Broncos. Now with Jameson Williams on their team, which it's important to note because otherwise I think Matthew Golden would be a very prominent pick here. Even still, I think Matthew Golden is food for thought. I don't see them trading back for a receiver and then also drafting a receiver at the same time, at least not with the first. What do you think?
You're right. I'm trying to remember, who do they have in their wide receiver room currently right now? Because Josh Reynolds is gone.
Theoretically, if it was Jameson Williams on the team now, Sutton, Williams, Mims, Vele, Troy Franklin, who I think the connection with Franklin and Nix is going to grow because of their collegiate alliance. But even Mims and Vele, I think they were decent. They're going to be better as wide receiver 3s than wide receiver 2s. They had to be 2s on the team this year. I think as 3s, they'll play the role better. Especially with having Jameson Williams being able to open up the field. I think that'd be huge for them.
So you think they go defense here then instead? Or Michael Williams is still there on the
I
board
think
as well?
I think this is one of those scenarios where it's just best available.
Okay.
And I think it's Williams. I think adding him to a front that is already good makes a good team great.
I agree.
Yeah.
Especially you look at the quarterbacks, ignore the Raiders, but you look at the quarterbacks that he's chasing down in that division, Herbert and Mahomes, I mean, you continue to build. So with the 28th overall pick, the Denver Broncos select Micah Williams, edge from Georgia, which moves us to the 29th overall pick and the Washington Commanders on the clock. I really like this team.
I think if it wasn't, say if we had this exact same draft board before they got Deebo Samuel, I'd say take Matthew Golden here.
Yes.
But that's where
it's a very different scenario. I think it's purely make sure your O-line is up to date, up to snuff. Make sure Daniels is not getting hit. I think this is where your boy goes. I think it's DJ. Disagree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's book it. All right, 29th overall, the Washington Commanders select Donovan Jackson, offensive guard from the Ohio State, which moves us to 30th overall, the Buffalo Bills, who their quarterback is dating Haley Seinfeld, star actor of Sinners.
Great movie. Go see it.
Josh Allen is going to not throw an interception this year. If you know, you know. This is where Golden goes. I think this is the perfect spot for him. They have Shakir, sure. They have Keon Coleman, sure. They have Josh Palmer, sure. Matthew Golden.
Yeah, I can see that.
Matthew.
Perfect.
Matthew.
That's why he's not going to throw an interception because they're going to have the perfect connection.
Because they're going to have Matthew. All right, with the 30th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills select Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. What's that? 3 Longhorns? We had Banksy and we had Barron. So the third Longhorn off the board, which brings us to the Super Bowl losing Kansas City Chiefs. We love to see KC lose. This is where it is very interesting because it should be O-line. It should be that simple.
Yeah.
But with that, they need so much on the offensive line, and there's not. Like, again, this is a scenario where there's not a whole lot of depth. If Jackson was still there, I think it'd be Jackson easily. Is it a reach here? What do we think?
All right. The conversation I want to have is let's take a look at the top 15 teams right now. that have already picked someone that could be in a position to start moving away from a certain quarterback. We have Jalen Milroe still there. I think the Chiefs could move back, say like one of those early round second picks.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
The team that I'm thinking about, I think the Dolphins move up here. I think the Dolphins move up from the second round and try and pick up Milroe, just with the the unforeseen future with Tua.
And that Alabama connection too.
That Bama connection. I think the Dolphins try and trade up here.
Okay.
Take this pick and get Milroe off the board.
I don't disagree with someone moving up here. I'm just going to counter with
I agree, but yeah, I was about to say I agree partially.
I'm going to counter with a different team.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Browns. Browns aren't in a good scenario either. You got to think Milroe and Dart are falling this far. Watson's hurt. Kenny Pickett. That's enough.
Steeler legend.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just pull this up real quick. I just want to see what do they have to give up? Because I mean, it's the Browns. They're in the cellar. They're always unfortunately going to be in the cellar unless Joe Flacco comes out of retirement. Unless we know another quarterback. What do they have really to give up? So they do have a first next year to give up. I don't think they need to reach that much. No. They do have the first pick after
so
the conclusion
they would give that up. That would be because that's basically going first round for first round when you think about it. So that would be the exchange. I think Cleveland gives up their second next year. They hold on to the first. So I think they give up their number 2s. And I think they give up, what's that? 2 third-round picks? I think you give up your ladder of the third, and then Casey sends you fourth. I think it's Cleveland. I don't disagree with Miami.
Okay, so
but I also think I think Casey would give up the 31st and 133 for 33 next year's second,
94 and 104.
94. I'll say 179. We'll give 179.
Yeah.
Click the button.
Yay! Finally, we got a trade to accept. Let's go. All right, so with the 31st overall pick, the Cleveland Browns moving up. Dart or Milroe?
Dart.
I think
that was a snap reaction.
Yeah.
That was quick.
So now the Eagles trade with the Dolphins.
No. All right, so we'll say Dart. So with the 31st overall pick, the Cleveland Browns select Jackson Dart, quarterback from Ole Miss, which leads to the Philadelphia Eagles at 32.
I think it's the same one as last time.
Let me think about this. I think if they pick here, yes. I do kind of want to play devil's advocate though, because Milroe has been working his way up. I don't think it's Miami, especially if they're drafting Membu. You would not. They drafted Membu earlier, so I kind of don't think they would go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun. I understand what you're trying to talk about. I was talking about Walter Nolan.
Oh no, I know 100%. I think 100%. I think if it is the pick, Nolan is the guy.
Yeah.
But is there anyone else who we could see? Do we think Las Vegas might move up?
I think right now, if Walter Nolan is on the board, I don't really
Philly
see.
Doesn't try to be too fancy.
Yeah, I don't see a world where Howie does it unless
Right.
like it's a really tasty.
It would have to be
$5
overpay.
biggie
Well, Minecraft meal. All right. So with the 32nd overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss, concluding the first round of the NFL Draft HKB 3.0 mock. So we'll quickly recap. First overall, Cam Ward to the Titans, Travis Hunter to the Browns, Will Campbell third overall to the Giants, Kelvin Banks Jr. fourth to New England, fifth Abdul Carter to the Jaguars, sixth overall Ashton Genty to the Raiders, Graham to the Jets, McMillan to the Panthers, then ninth overall the Miami Dolphins trade up for Armand Menbu with the Saints, Shamar Stewart 10th to the Bears, 11th Will Johnson to the Niners, 12th Amarian Hampton going to Dallas by trading back. The Saints get Tyler Booker, 13th overall at offensive guard from Bama. The Colts draft Tyler Warren, 14th. Jalen Walker to the Falcons at 15. Mike Green to the Cardinals at 16. Malachi Starks, 17th to the Bengals. 18th is Derek Harmon to the Seahawks. 19th, Jahdae Barron to the Bucks. Moving up to 20th overall is the Detroit Lions, trading away Jameson Williams in order to draft Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. The Steelers get their quarterback messiah in Shedeur Sanders at 21. Colston Loveland going to the Chargers at 22. Josh Simmons to the Packers. Nick Emmanwori to the Vikings. Josh Connerly Jr. to the Texans. Jahad Campbell, 26 overall, to the Rams. Javon Ravel to the Baltimore Ravens at 27. Micah Williams going to the Broncos, trading back. 29th overall, Donovan Jackson to the Commanders. Matthew Golden becoming a Buffalo Bill. The Browns trading back up into the first round to draft Jackson Dart with the Kansas City Chiefs. And Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. Now we're only going to do the first round, but let's go to the first pick of the second round. Who would KC pick, theoretically? They would go O-line, I think, knowing kind of how it's still kind of a reach, but I think they have to go O-line.
Yeah.
I think Ursery from Minnesota, because he's a tackle. He has tackle experience. I think you can move him interior if you really wanted to. He has very minimal snaps inside, but you can make it work. I think if you're going for the truest form of versatility, you go. Do I want to attempt to say this?
Savanea, probably.
Jonas Savanea from Arizona spent his whole first year as a right guard, then transitioned to a right guard and right tackle in 2023, and then this whole year played left and right tackle. I think this would probably be the safest thing because they need so much on the O-line.
Yeah,
he brings the versatility.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's him, or I think Ursery is probably the best available. But yeah, good mock draft. 3 days till the NFL draft, boys. I'm dialed.
Unbelievable.
Dialed, fired, all of the above. All right, boys. Let's move on. The HKB Monday parlay. Reminder that gambling is a serious issue. If you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Let's have fun. Gambling is fun. We're having fun, and we're going to have fun with this parlay. I'll kick it off with a little player prop for tonight's Phillies-Mets game, which also is our weekly pick, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I'm going to go with Pete Alonso for 2+ bases. In 50 at-bats against Aaron Nola, who's starting for the Philadelphia Phillies, he has a .320 batting average with 5 home runs. And Alonso's been on fire recently, hitting .400 across the last 7 games, hitting just below .350 on the year with 6 home runs. And Aaron Nola has really struggled. 21 hits allowed in 21 2/3. Pete Alonso is going to get a hold of one. Give me Pete, the polar bear. Big Meat Pete for 2+ bases.
Huh? What?
It's one of his nicknames, man.
All right.
All right, Corey, go.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm taking Capitals money line against the Canadians. Listen, it's game 1 in our nation's capital. I think the Caps are going to win this series. I think they're going to win this game. Listen, I like this Canadians team, but at the same time, I don't. I think Marty St. Louis has done a great job leading them to the playoffs, but they kind of limped their way to the postseason. Sam Montembeau's been really good in net. I love Suzuki and Caulfield, but man, this Caps team is loaded. I mean, Dylan Strome's been great. Pierre-Luc Dubois really been a surpriser this year. And of course, the Great 8 doing what he does best. Give me the Caps winning this game 1.
All right. Cam, what do you got?
I got the Tigers money line against the Padres. I mean, just like 2 really good teams. I don't know, just hoping for the best. They're good.
I was gonna say, do you want to read your note?
Yeah, they are good.
Okay. And then last, who wants to be?
I'll take Sorens. I'll take Sorens.
So Corin Swanson, what do we got?
So I will take the Cardinals money line. They are second in the league for most hits per game and have a decent bullpen. Considering that I guess I'm Soren. So considering that my cousin Matt Swanson was called up just from AAA in Memphis last Wednesday from the minor leagues with a scoreless debut against the Mets, he can record his first strikeout within his next outing.
Is he playing today?
Was that like a prop bet that he's doing? No, he's a relief pitcher, so we won't know until later.
It's true.
But is Soren like, oh, he's gonna record his first strike? I want to know the odds for that.
Soren,
Soren,
are you? If you're watching now, please send us the odds right now.
Soren, please. No. All right. So to recap, we got Pete Alonso 2+ bases, the Tigers money line, the Cardinals money line, and Capitals money line. About 1,600 odds. Probably one of the highest odds we've had.
Yeah.
Also feels like one of the most dialed in odds we've had. I feel like this is probably one of the most value bets we've put together.
Agreed.
Also, before we advance from our great gambling segment, Cam, do you want to tell everyone about the greatest prop to put in for today? For ironically, the Phillies game for later
Oh.
tonight.
So I guess new segment, HKB single leg parlay, not parlay, just single leg
Prop bet.
prop bet.
There you go.
As of I think my buddy put it in this morning, and it was at like about 860 odds.
It's now down to 500.
It is now down to 500, probably down closer to 300 as the word continues to get out. But Nick Castellanos to hit a home run today against the Mets. If you know, you know.
Rest in peace, Pope Francis.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rest in peace.
Pope Francis. But in other words, you know anything about Nick Castellanos? Loves to do it when at probably the worst timing possible.
When tragedy strikes.
When tragedy strikes, I can only imagine the NBC Sports Philadelphia broadcast today. They'll probably roll a graphic. Hopefully they don't.
Hopefully they don't.
Hopefully they don't. But like I can imagine, like second innings running around, Castellanos is walking up to the plate. He's gonna hit it straight over the batter's eye, probably about 4:30. He's gonna crush this ball right as they're trying to pay their respects.
John, you might want to go to the game and try and get this home run ball.
Oh, it's gonna be worth so much money.
It would, dude. Send it to the Vatican after.
All right.
Is Zach Campbell going to be there tonight?
Zach
or-
Campbell's probably
Zach Campbell would be the one to catch the ball.
Guys, I just got the ball.
All right, just a reminder that gambling is a serious issue. Please have fun with it. If you're not having fun and you think you have a problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER today. All right, we're gonna stay in that great matchup that Castellanos will strike as he always does. We watched a compilation earlier. Hilarious. And never is it not funny. But so we'll stick with that same game, Mets versus Phillies, for the weekly picks. As we look at standings. Congrats. Grab your crown. Man, imagine being good at what you do.
Bro, imagine being good at your job.
Yeah, I know. But so as we look down, Soren at 9-8, myself at 8-9, and then a three-way tie for 7-10. The difference though, Jack has 180 points, Cam has 219, and John with 260. We got John Galco, if you know, you know. So I'll kick it off with this week's with the first pick for this week. I'm gonna go with the Phillies. A little bit of a bias pick, but I got the Phils 9-7. Aaron Nola has been atrocious. He has made 4 appearances. He has looked terrible in all 4. His velocity's down. He just doesn't look that good. It just feels like he's due. And still, as I have the Mets scoring 7 runs. Maybe like a 6-inning, 3-run performance. I'll take that. Also, the bullpen has been atrocious. I went to the game on Saturday. I can't say what I called Jordan Romano because we will most definitely get taken off the air. I didn't say it at the stadium, but I said it behind not so closed doors. Yeah, bullpens looked bad, so I think it's going to be one of those high-scoring games. I think the Phillies' offense, especially knowing what Castellanos is capable of on a night like tonight, I just think the Phillies will get it done. So I'm going to rock with the Phils 9-7. Corey, what do you got?
So I got the Mets 5-2. This is kind of spoiling John's a little bit. I forgot to put my notes in the doc. Me and John are on the same wavelength, I think. So I won't say all of my notes.
John might he just might be trying to follow you to make up ground.
So I won't say all of my notes. So John has an opportunity. But all I'll say is the Mets have been really good at home. They've scored almost 5 runs a game when they're home, and Aaron Nola has been buns this season. So I don't think this is the game for him to turn it around. Mets 5-2.
JD, what do you got?
Yeah, I got the Mets 5-2 as well. Thank you, Corey, for not spoiling my spiel. But I was about to say, yes, the Mets are 9-1 at home, which is tied for their second best start in franchise history at home. The last 2 times they've done that, they won the World Series and made an appearance in the World Series. And I'd be very happy if that's the case once again. But for tonight's game, I think Soto is starting to turn it around a little bit. I'm happy the fans haven't had a stroke yet because there's no need to. It's only not even a little over 20 games. I think Soto's going to go deep tonight. Nola will pitch okay, better than what he has so far because the Mets don't really hit the starter too well. They usually beat up on the bullpen. So I think it'll be 2-2 game going into like the 7th inning, and they'll get a few runs at the end with Diaz getting a save.
John, how excited will you feel when Jordan Romano comes into the game?
I may jump up and down in excitement, but also the Knicks are playing tonight, so I I gotta preserve my energy.
Fair, very fair.
Good answer. Good answer.
Very fair. Cam, what you got?
I got the Mets winning 6-3. Probably Castellanos 3-run homer in the what is it? Bottom of the or top of the second.
Wait, what? Nope, that can't happen. He's
they-
going to be the 4-hole hitter, bro. Two
Yeah.
runners on to start the first. He's going to go deep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
We like
don't
that.
waste
We
any
like
time.
that. That'll be all of the Phillies offense for the night. Polar Bear Pete, I guess.
Yeah, 2+ bases.
2+ bases.
There you go.
Probably,
There you go.
probably another dinger here or there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right, Bigsy, what do you got?
I got the Mets 6-5. I think Juan Soto, grand slam and 2-run homer. Pete Alonso actually quits the team and joins the USA track and field team before the game. And then Castellanos, obviously, home run.
If we know. All right, I let you do it. I'll let Cam do it for this one. Cam sponsored. What do we got?
I will be taking the Phillies with the score of 6-5. I hope Aaron Nola can fix his command issues. We can get to that if we want to discuss that further. And the offense will play a key role in this NL East matchup against the Mets. This game will be close, and maybe Nick Castellanos will hit a walk-off home run
That's not who he said.
to start the series.
He said Bryce Harper.
He did say Bryce Harper,
He did
but
say- Soren, the Phillies are on the road. It's not possible to hit a walk-off homer.
mentally walk off the game.
Mentally walking off the field, yes. Good job, Soren. All right, so we got 2 Phils, 4 Mets. Boys, you got anything before we wrap this one up?
No, happy Easter Monday.
Easter Monday.
Monday.
We love Nick Castellanos. JD, anything before we call it?
No, happy Easter Monday. It's Monday.
All right. Boys, let's have a day. That's going to do it for this edition of He Knows Ball and 1 PGB in the playoffs. Make a run tonight, boys. Make sure to follow on everything. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Corey on our right, Cam to the left, Soren somewhere, JD also somewhere.